Welcome to the Written Word. I'm Terrence, and this is a channel that is dedicated to poetry. Today I will be reviewing Ai Qing selected poems. Ai Qing was a legendary poet from China whose work predates World War II and spans all the way into the 1980s. He spent many years in prison and in work camps because of his political ideology and suffered for his art, which fascinated me when I picked this up. Now, the first thing I recognized about his poetry is that he talks a lot about nature in the Chinese countryside and he paints beautiful pictures of that world and that landscape. Now, I like many of these poems, but after a while, it was kind of tedious to read because it was just poem after poem about mountainside, and it got a little bit boring. Although I did like many of these poems, I thought some of them were a little bit too long and a little bit too much of the same thing. Now, the next thing I noticed about his poetry was that he spoke a lot about China during World War II and the Japanese occupation, which I was also delighted to read because I've seen movies about that time period in China in that time period, but I've never actually read an account of that time period from someone who lived through it while they were living through it, which I felt rewarded to be able to read that, and I felt enlightened. And before I read Ai Qing, I had never actually read um, Chinese poetry, so I felt like this was a great experience to be cultured on that type of poetry and poetry from that culture. And I feel like anybody who picks this book up will also be rewarded and feel fascinated to read something like this. So that's my review on Ai Qing. I hope you have a good day. I'm Terrence. This has been The Written Word.